Harris, Dodgers beat writer for the LA Times, will be joining us momentarily. Always appreciate Jack's time and his insight. A lot to get into. The Dodgers salvaged the series against the Padres. Let's get into the big ticket.
Let's do it.
Okay, so there's a couple of things. I don't want this to just be a bitch fest, right? I don't want to be like, oh, the Dodgers are terrible, or when they sweep the Padres, oh, the Dodgers are great. Like, let's bring it down a little bit more brass tacks in terms of what they did well, Clint, and what they didn't do well. What is your biggest thing in terms of opportunities missed and things that you liked that you saw over the course of the series, particularly yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, course of the series, you got to like the pitching. Dodgers pitching, starting pitching for the greater part was very good. I have some things to say. I have some concerns when it comes to Tyler Glasnow. I've been having some arguments with folks online about that a little bit. But for the greater part, Blake Snell shoved. Yamamoto shoved. The bullpen was really good outside of when they were pressed into extended duty because of Tyler Glasnow on Saturday. Offense continues to be consistently inconsistent, but I very much loved what we saw Sunday afternoon. Dalton Rushing breaking out with the biggest hit of his career so far. Freddie Freeman putting the team on his back with a couple of dingers. You have to like that kind of stuff. I know, breaking news there. But still, the Dodgers lost 2 of 3. And are tied with the Padres at the top of the NL West. And it seems to me like people are kind of okay with it. Where are you at with the Dodgers taking 2 or 3?
I'm not kind of okay with it, and I'll tell you why. And again, I don't want this just to be like, oh, a bitch session. That's not what this is. Let's be like critical, but let's be smart in our critique in terms of the things that we need to take away from this series about what needs to be better. I had a conversation with Rick Krajewski, who obviously does the research for Sportsnet LA with Joe and Oral, as well as Fox, when Joe Davis is on the Fox broadcast. And I sent him a text. I said, hey, let's really talk about what they did well and what they didn't do so well. As far as, and I brought this up because I heard Joe and Oral talking about it on the broadcast. As far as being effective against the hard stuff, right? That's all the different types of fastballs you have, the cutter, those types of things. They were 7 for 58 with 3 home runs and 14 strikeouts against the hard stuff, okay? So they lacked Clint in clutch hitting, but just as much as getting opportunities with runners in scoring position. So these are the things that they needed to improve upon that I noticed over the course of this series. Only 7 at-bats with runners in scoring position in the entire series, and only 1 hit with runners in scoring position. So only 1 hit with a dude on second base, right? They got to Nick Pivetta late, but the Padres starters shut them down. That's a problem because you do not want to go into the Padres pen, okay? The Padres have the best pen in Major League Baseball, so if you can't get to the starters, that's even more problematic considering how good their pen is. Now, things that I did appreciate over the course of the series with the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers, as you mentioned, Clint, they pitched pretty well, right? Yeah. Only gave up 9 runs in the entire series. Really came down to that lack of consistent offense that we were talking about in the series. On the road trip, 8 or more runs scored in 3 wins, 8 total runs and 4 losses. That's a problem. 8 total runs and 4 losses. Yeah. You're basically only scoring 2 runs a game in the losses. They need more consistent, kind of like the 4 to 5 runs per game and not so many highs, not so many lows. I don't need a 10-run margin of victory, but I would like to score more than 2 runs in the losses. So those are the things that I kind of like the broad stroke brush take away from the Padres series. And again, if and when we played San Diego in the postseason, there will be games in San Diego. You know what I mean? It's not like we just play at Dodger Stadium unless it happens to be that, they're San Diego's the wild card team and we get to stay home for the entire thing. So that's my takeaway from it. San Diego is a very good team. And moreover, San Diego is not afraid of the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're not. No. But I know you want to talk about, before Jack Harris comes on the show momentarily, I know you want to talk about Tyler Glasnow. This was a moment, Clint, and I'll let you speak about it, but this was a moment in which I feel, or maybe you do too, that he needed to show us something a little bit more. Take me through your thought process.
Yeah, I understand people are going to say he didn't have the best strike zone to work with, but you can kind of adjust, you can adapt to a bad strike zone, maybe do something a little bit different. I think with Glasnow, there are moments where he's a little slow to adjust in that kind of regard, but I fully agree with you there. You needed to see something. This was, in Tyler Glasnow's tenure as a Dodger, this was his first playoff atmosphere, and I'm using very heavy air quotes on that, playoff atmosphere that he's pitched in a Dodgers uniform, and I needed to see something more out of him. Not 4 walks over 4 innings, and then you're out after 80, 90 pitches or something like that. I understand he's been very good when he's healthy in a Dodger uniform, but I need to see a little bit more out of Tyler Glasnow in a big spot, in big moments, and less of the excuses, less of, oh, I lost my feel for the pitches or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. I just need to see Glasnow go out there and shove if he wants to be one of the top 4 dudes that is starting a game for this team in the postseason. And Riz, I'll ask you this. I mean, at this point, and this is 100% an engagement bait type of question, but Clayton Kershaw has been very good for this team. He has a ton of accolades and awards, and we love the man. And at the same time, Tyler Glasnow is hanging around and kind of one of those dudes that you expect him to get a spot in the rotation. Gun to your head, who are you putting in as your 4 starter? You going Kershaw or are you going Glasnow?
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that because I'm going to drop a name here, and I'm not trying to be that person, but I literally just had this conversation earlier today with country superstar Brad Paisley. I sent him a text. I said, how you doing? He's a massive, massive Dodger fan, right? He's performed the national anthem. He's done Clayton's, Kershaw's challenge. He's a big...
We lost her.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, see, that's what happens when I name drop. No, that's what. Let me read you what he said. I go, just wanted to check in, say hello. How are you guys doing? Doing good. Losing years off my life from the Dodgers. I said, same. We'll be okay. Offense needs to wake up, and Scott and Yates and. He said the best thing about this season is watching Clayton be their best pitcher once again, as I fully expected he would be. I'm going with Clayton just because of the years of experience that the man has. In that arm. And I'm not to say that Tyler Glasnow is not going to be huge in the postseason. Tyler Glasnow will throw some clutch innings in the postseason. I have no doubt about that. And thank goodness, hopefully, knock on everything, that Tyler Glasnow will be healthy for this postseason because the Dodgers obviously did not have him last year. But this is an interesting situation, right? Like, Kershaw's not going to shove it down your throat. He's not throwing 99. He's not going to, absolutely blow it by you, but the man still knows how to pitch. He's not a thrower. He's a pitcher. He's not a hurler. He's a pitcher. But yeah, Kershaw, was always going to be the most competitive guy out there and give you the best outing as possible. So yeah, it's an interesting situation. We'll ask Jack Harris about his opinion as well. I do know that we have to get to a break first, though. Yeah.
It's a good problem for the Dodgers to have to pick between your 3rd or 4th starter being Tyler Glasnow or Clayton Kershaw. And again, that is a very a great question to ask Jack, along with the lineup getting better. We got to talk Kike Hernandez, Max Muncy, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that. But first, we're going to hear from us in a break, and then we'll come back and welcome Jack to the show.
All right, Dodgers Nation, buckle up because this one is big. You thought last offseason with Ohtani was wild? You thought landing Teoscar Snell and Tanner Scott meant we were done making splashes? Think again. There's buzz, and not just the usual chatter, and that the Dodgers are about to throw their hat in the ring for Ketel Marte. Yeah, you heard me right. The 3-time All-Star, locked into a $116 million contract, could be wearing Dodger blue next season. And let me tell you folks, and if Andrew Friedman pulls this off, the NL West, over the entire National League, on notice. So stay with me, because we're diving deep into why Marte could be the perfect fit, what a realistic trade package looks like, and why this would be yet another genius move for our front office. Here's where it all started. Reports out of Arizona are saying the D-backs are open to listening on Marte this offseason. He's in year 2 of a 6-year, $116 million deal, and while they're not exactly in rebuild mode, there's some frustration building in the desert. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are watching this closely. With our depth in the farm system and a few veterans coming off the books, the timing just makes too much sense for Friedman not to make a call. And think about it, we've done business with Arizona before. If the D-backs are even slightly serious about moving Marte, LA is the team that can make the cleanest, strongest offer. Now let's talk fit, because this is where it gets really interesting. Marte is having another elite season, slashing .290 batting average, 388 OBP, 534 slugging, with 23 home runs already this year. That's not just production, that's consistency. Second base has been a bit of a revolving door for us. Miguel Rojas and Kike Hernandez are hitting free agency, Muncy is aging and might not even be in the lineup every day, and while Mookie can slide in there, we'd rather keep him in right field, fresh and ready to mash. Now picture this lineup next season. Mookie leading off Ohtani, hitting second Freddie Freeman in the 3-hole Will Smith cleaning up, and then Ketel Marte protecting the middle of that order. That's unfair. That's nightmare fuel for the entire NL. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room, the price tag. Marte's deal runs through 2028 at $116 million, which for a guy producing like he is, that's a straight up bargain. This isn't a Juan Soto 500 mailers type of situation, but here's the catch. The D-backs won't just hand him over, they'll want premium prospects. Think about someone like Alex Freeland, maybe one of our young arms like Kyle Hurt or Nick Frasso, and even a mid-tier bat to sweeten the deal. And yeah, losing top prospects stings, but let's be real, with the Dodgers' track record of development, we'll still have one of the strongest farm systems in the league even after a blockbuster trade. Plus, we're in our championship window. You don't play it safe when you've got Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman in their primes. Now imagine this, you take Ketel Marte away from a division rival that's been a thorn in our side for the past 2 seasons, and you plug him right into a lineup that's already one of the most dangerous in baseball. That's a 2-for-1 deal. You weaken Arizona and you supercharge your own roster heading into 2026. And for the Padres fans talking trash right now, good luck, because this would put the Dodgers so far ahead of the NL West that everyone else would basically be fighting for wildcard scraps. Here's where I'm at with this. Ketel Marte checks every box for the Dodgers. He's got versatility, clutch hitting, postseason experience, and his contract is team friendly. And let's not forget, Andrew Friedman doesn't swing and miss on these kinds of moves. Look at Mookie, look at Freddie, look at Shohei. This front office knows how to get elite talent and keep the core together. Yes, we'd have to part with prospects we love, but if the goal is to bring another World Series to LA, you make that deal every single time. So what do you think, Dodgers Nation? Would you trade top guys like Alex Freeland or Nick Frasso to bring Ketel Marte to Los Angeles? Does this move put us over the top in the NL?